Hello, hello. Welcome to For Book's Sake with Heather Roberts.
And Veronica Adams. And I have to say, if you are watching us on YouTube or
Yes.
any other video location, you cannot miss Heather's new hair this week. She's rocking some sunset fantasy hair, and my God, is it everything? It is
Yeah.
just stunning.
Thank you. Thank you. I had to actually do it because I knew that we were recording on video. And
So you got up and styled it for us just for a recording
just,
session.
just for the video purposes. But yeah, she did such a good
I love
job.
it. I love it. There's like pink in there, like
Mhm.
magenta. And
Yeah,
then the
she used like
oranges and the yellow.
she's
It's
like
just,
5
it's
different
stunning.
colors, but they all they just go
Yeah.
together. And
Yeah.
she's a professional. Like she's like she does this
You
for a
look like a
living.
sky on fire at sunset. It's awesome.
Yes. I wish that we would, we have gotten sunsets that look like my hair,
Yeah.
just not recently. I think it's, we have the wildfires up in Canada
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and everything. So it's just been so hazy and
Mhm.
we just haven't been
Yeah.
getting those crazy sunsets. So I put it
Yeah.
on my head instead.
I love that. I love that. Funny story, not that this is relevant to anything book related, but we have also been getting a lot of the smog and smoke and haziness from the wildfires here in the Midwest. So
Yeah.
it's not just you New Englanders who are suffering this summer. Things have been pretty crazy here.
It's been spreading, I've heard, all the way down the East Coast and even
Mhm.
Midwest. So yeah. And California, they usually have their wildfire situation too. So that
Mhm.
spreads in the west. We live in the bad place. So, you know,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. But since this isn't a climate change podcast, maybe we
it
should talk
sure
about
isn't.
books.
We're a Supreme Court podcast.
Oh,
Although,
girl, don't even get me started.
although tangentially related because it did talk about graphic design and that is something that we do frequently. So I am
Yeah.
just going to be putting this out there. I did post it up on Facebook, but just, we will be more than happy to make any graphics for LGBTQ plus books or brands or what have you.
Yeah.
We are absolutely accepting
Mhm.
of that, of
Authors of color,
authors of color. We believe in human rights.
marginalized communities in general.
Just
Yeah,
generally speaking, we
absolutely.
believe in human rights. I'm just putting
For
that
sure.
out there so that there is absolutely no question whatsoever. And yeah, I hate that I have to even say that, but here we are
Well,
in the year
the
of
times we live in.
2023.
I know. I know.
But speaking of crazy things, let's talk about book signings. That's what we're going to talk about
Yes.
today. So we're
Yes,
going
book signings that have been all the rage this week
yes.
in Romancelandia in the indie publishing world because Book Bonanza was last weekend. So
Yes. And book
lots of
signings always, they're very hot in the summer because, people can take time off and often
sure,
do, and it's
it's
nicer to
much easier for families
travel.
to travel. Yeah.
Yes. So book signings are very huge in the summertime, and we are smack dab in it. So we are in book signing season. A lot of people are going out for their first book signing ever as a reader. A
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
authors too.
Having come to our big table here in the publishing world through the pandemic. Um,
Yes.
Lots more readers having gotten stuck at home with less to do, who've figured out exactly how spicy book talk is and
And then they were
have made
like,
their way
oh,
onto
I can go meet
Goodreads
them.
and then onto other social media platforms and then discovered that, oh my gosh, when there's not a pandemic on, we get together and we go to these conferences and we mingle with each other and we get to meet the authors we love.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a thing we do.
It is a thing we do. And it's, it is so much fun. It really is.
Totally.
And okay, so let's just put this out. Okay, there are different levels of a book signing.
Yes.
You have to understand what the book signing event is that you are going to.
Yes.
Because if you're going to something like Book Bonanza,
That is a
understand.
mega event.
Yeah, understand that's a mega event. If you're going to a Polycon, that is a mega
Yes.
event.
Yes.
There are other events in existence that are not mega events.
And I'm not going to lie, I kind of love a small regional intimate book signing, like
Yeah, I
30
do too.
authors in a hotel conference room, like in Charleston, West Virginia. You know what I mean? Like, just
Just something
pulling
more
some places out
chill.
there, right? Like Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah.
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 And those do exist. And
Yes.
they don't have usually the like 3 to 4 day panels and features
Yes.
and, you know,
Exactly. The after
multi night
parties and the
after
boozy
party. Yeah.
brunches. Yeah, those things don't happen at those kinds of events. They're much smaller and intimate.
And they have it's a signing. And then
Hmm.
sometimes there's an after something. And that is
Suntan.
all. Then we all go
Yes.
home.
Yes.
So it's much simpler of an event, but can be awesome just as much. I mean, it depends what you're looking for. So if you're not looking for a mega signing event and you're seeing all these posts about Book Bonanza and you're like, that is not it for me. Like that is something I can't do. Understand that that doesn't put you out of the signings entirely. Go and find an
Nor
event that's smaller, more intimate.
right. And
That
nor should it, because there
right.
is literally something for everybody when it comes to these signing events. And that means globally too. Like,
Absolutely.
we're talking about events that typically take place basically here in the continental United States, but there are events all across the world, internationally, all year long.
Yeah. I mean, there's
The rare
Rare that's
event.
coming up.
Exactly. London, Paris, Melbourne. How many other places do they do it? I mean,
Oh gosh, yeah. They go around and we do have an events list, by the way, on our website that you can go and
yes,
check out. It is not
k252mania.com.
100% updated. It will be. We're working on it. There's a lot of events and
There are.
they, you know, they change and we add to it and
Yes, some are startups and they're brand new and we don't know about them and can't get them on the list quickly enough. Some are, retired
yes.
and maybe still on the list.
And
Um,
well, or we don't know if they're coming back, so we've put them at
right.
the
Or they're,
bottom
yep,
in a
they're on
different
hiatus. Like,
yeah.
maybe they will, maybe they won't.
But what I think what we did with our list that I think is helpful, I put on there all the things I would want to know.
Yeah.
So I put on there the links to tickets, the links to the website if it exists, the links to a Facebook group if it exists.
Hmm.
And most importantly, I put region and then, the state in which it's located.
Right.
So if you're just looking to search for something in your area, you can easily go and find that or figure out where the heck these things are
Right.
located.
Right.
Because sometimes it's not super easy to figure that out. You would think
It's
it would
true.
be. You would think it's easy to be like, oh, this is where the event. No, it is not. It is
Hmm.
not. Yeah. I love you, event organizers. You do a lot of work, but please don't assume that people know where your event is.
It's true.
It's really true.
Especially if you host an event that perhaps has a circuit and is taking place in multiple cities.
Correct. Just don't assume that people know where it is, especially because there's a lot of new people coming into the industry now.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
so if they get frustrated at the first glance of trying to even figure out where your event's located, it's not a great first impression. So that's my feedback there from having to sift through a
Yeah.
lot, a lot of things. But so, okay, so let's say you're going to an event for the first time as an author. What would you tell them to expect?
Oh my God. So, first and foremost, you need to be prepared to put your best face forward on display at this event, right? So, there's a lot of prep that goes into that. If you've never done a signing event before, table decorations, cloths, standing banners, merchandise, rack cards, bookmarks, pens, swag, a newsletter sign up QR code or
Yeah.
handwritten list, a way to accept payments electronically, cards or cash. I mean, you've got to, it's, it can be a little bit overwhelming to prep for these things.
Yeah, it
So
really
a
can.
checklist, a guide, something, to keep yourself organized, just a regular to-do list, however you like to organize your tasks, can definitely be super helpful. And then when you're actually at the event, you need to be prepared to be an extrovert, even if you're not.
Yeah. No, that's
These
very
are
good
social
advice.
events. And I know that a lot of creatives, writers especially, not everyone is an extrovert. In fact, a lot of authors are pretty introverted, in my experience. So This can be kind of an overwhelming stretch of your skill set, right? Because you're going to be sitting probably across from, in between, next to, or around other authors, first and foremost.
Right.
So you can do a lot of professional networking,
Mhm.
talking to other people who write, getting a chance to maybe put faces with names that you recognize from your social media marketing and networking. But then once the readers are admitted and the event actually begins,
You have to talk to them
that's right, about your books.
about
And
your
you have to be
books.
prepared to receive compliments, which is
Yes. That's
sometimes
true.
difficult.
That's
It's
very
sometimes
true.
difficult to do.
It
Like
is.
people fawning over your work, people who are there to actually see you. You were the draw for them to come to this event because they've
Yeah.
been reading your books and they love it. You're going to get a lot of interaction with people who maybe haven't read you yet too. So it's an opportunity to test your own salesmanship or saleswomanship,
Yeah.
or salespersonship, to be as
Neutral as possible.
inclusive as
Yeah.
I possibly can be. Yeah, to shake a few hands and say, well, if you love X author or X genre, you might like this book or this series I've written,
Yeah. And if
and
you're
be prepared
new,
to sell them.
if you're newer and you haven't been around for a while, you have to sell yourself. And I know that that is
Yep,
very hard, and for many people to do. But here's a couple of tips. Okay. One, you have to remember that everybody there is there because they love books.
that's right.
They are there because they love reading. They love specifically romance books, if that's the type of, event that you're at. And what
Yes,
do? You write them. So you already have your target audience right in front of you.
that's
They are
right.
there because they're interested. So you just have to draw them into your table. A tip, just instead of sitting behind your table, stand up at your table. Have, or stand right beside your table, like right,
Get a
depends on
bar
the setup.
stool,
Right.
something that raises you up, makes you a
Something,
little bit
yeah,
more visible.
makes you a little bit taller. If you're sitting
Hmm.
and slouching and lounging in your chair or scrolling on your phone or you have your arms crossed, you don't look approachable. And then
That's right.
readers who have the same issues that you have, which, the being afraid to engage or talk to people,
Hmm.
you need to look as open as possible to that conversation
Yeah.
because you want to engage them. You want to talk about your books. So it's very difficult. I understand, but work on it. Practice with some people before you go out into the public and do it. But yeah, just really watch your body language and try to stand up or raise up your seat in some way, if you have to sit, to make yourself just a little bit more approachable, from that
Yep.
perspective. Look engaged, with people as they're walking by. Look them in the eye or like look at them. You don't have to be like,
Smile.
right,
And I,
smile.
I
Just
don't I don't mean that in a patronizing way. I mean
no.
like genuinely appear friendly and approachable.
Yeah, not no misogyny here. It's just like
No.
look friendly and approachable. That's it. Whatever that looks like
Right.
for you, do that.
Yeah.
And this takes a lot of effort. This takes effort for me. Like I need to, when I go to these things, I have to make sure that I'm not having my resting bitch face on because I have I have been told by people who supposedly love me that no, I'm
we
kidding.
we
I
do.
know.
We do love you.
But that I can look intimidating
You
and
can.
that right, and like mean, and that's fair. I've seen it. I've seen pictures of myself and I'm like,
A lot
"Oh,
of us are
okay.
plagued with that for sure. That
Yeah.
like the neutral facade, when the muscles are relaxed and you don't think that you're making any sort of expression, maybe just a little bit intimidating.
Right." Like people are like, "Oh, she don't want to talk to anybody." So I
Yeah.
have to actively turn that off in my brain and, go on and
Right.
really think about the way that I'm presenting myself if I'm
Hmm.
going out with the hopes of talking to people,
Right.
about my business and being approachable. And it's the same thing with authors. You have to be approachable. That's
Hmm.
just how it is. And then think about if somebody asks you that somebody's going to ask you these questions. Okay, they're likely, very much likely going to ask you this. If I've never read you before, which book should I start? Have an
Yes.
answer. Have an answer. You know, think about, or what's this book about?
Right.
Create a 5-second pitch about every book that you're going to have on that table. Know what the answer to that question is of what book is the one that I
Right.
should start if I've never read you before.
Right.
You know, you don't want to stumble over these answers. You want to be confident in your responses, and you want to give them a reply that is accurate to the book,
Yep.
and also shows that you're proud of your work, because you should be proud of your work.
Well, and it should also be a good answer from a marketing standpoint too. Like, don't forget, you most likely are going to want these readers to stick around after they take your recommendation for where to start. You're going to want them to do some reading through a series or interconnected standalones in the same universe. So make sure that you're recommending an actual good anchor book for them to start with too. Don't just say,
Absolutely.
hey, pick up my new release because it's your new release. Maybe a book one in a series that's been out for a little while is actually the recommendation you're making.
Right. Exactly. And maybe you say something, maybe you think about the tropes, or you ask them a follow-up question. What's your
Exactly.
favorite trope?
Right. What scratches your itch? What
Yeah.
is the thing that you just can't get enough of?
And if you have that available to them, then you offer
Hmm.
that. So
Right.
it's these types of engaging questions. These are things that you can have conversations about
Yep.
books.
Yep. And
And yeah.
and we should also step back and talk about how to prepare for readers who have already read you and are coming to the event to meet you, even
Yes.
if it's your first rodeo, so to speak. You you should be prepared for that in the sense that you have the books available that they're going to want from you.
Yes. What are your best sellers?
Right. Or your reader favorites.
Yes, reader
Are you
favorites.
going to offer a pre-order?
Yes.
And have a form on your website or a Google form where your existing readers who are attending this event can actually reserve copies from you, the books that they would like you to sell them on event day.
And logistically, you have to think about this if you're doing a pre-order.
Hmm.
So, do you collect payment in advance? Do you collect payment
Right.
on the day of? Because here's the thing, if you don't collect payment in advance, at least a deposit of some sort, you
Yep.
are now purchasing these books to ensure that you have at the event. If the person does not come and pick up the books at the event, or otherwise contact you when you reach out and say, like, hey,
Which happens a lot, by the
mhm,
way.
yeah, I'd like to say it doesn't happen. It happens a lot.
It's a reality.
Yeah. So if I would suggest at least having a deposit, a non-refundable deposit required, for somebody to do a pre-order with you, like half of the amount of their
Hmm.
order or something to that effect, because that pretty much guarantees that if they're pre-ordering the books for the signing, they're going to come and pick them up and settle up and
Right.
pay the other half or whatever
Right.
it is.
They're already invested.
Yeah.
You've incentivized them to complete the transaction and actually follow through with the pre-order portion of asking you to reserve books for them.
Right. Because if you don't do that and there's no skin in their game, people will go on and pre order books. You will get all of these pre orders. You will carry them to the event. You will,
Yeah.
yeah, you will,
Or pay to ship them if you're going to an event across the country or across the world. I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
And then if you have to then bring them home and you've received no money for that, you are now getting an extra expense that you were not
Hmm.
already planning upon. And you now still have these books that you may or may not be able to move very quickly.
Hmm.
So,
Well, and realistically, when you do finally sell them, it'll probably be at a loss
right.
just due to your overhead in shipping them to the event and then back home from the event or paying to check them with your luggage, et cetera, et cetera. Your costs go up if you don't already have the financial commitment from the readers who pre-order.
So get a deposit, a non-refundable deposit. So if they don't
And
show up and they don't communicate with you if they
yeah,
don't show up, fine. Things happen. Send them an email and say, "Hey, you didn't show up at this event. Would you still like to purchase these books? Here's a link with an invoice, for the rest of
yeah,
the remaining due." And add shipping, because now they have to pay for shipping,
mhm,
because otherwise they were picking them up, right? No shipping included.
exactly.
Now they have to pay for shipping. If they don't want to do that, guess what? You get to keep the deposit and the books for your time and effort. You're a business. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, I don't want to be mean." That's not being mean. That it's a business.
And for the record, There is absolutely nothing wrong with collecting payment in full before these events and charging
Absolutely.
100% of the cost to you upfront
Correct.
as part of the pre-order. And then you can maybe even add the additional dollars or cents, whatever it's going to take for you to guarantee shipping in the event they don't show.
Yep.
You can upcharge for that. If you're going to charge $15 a paperback, maybe you charge 20 instead. And that $20 covers a flat rate domestic shipping anyway. Probably not international, but at least,
Just in case you have to ship some to some places.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can work this stuff into the costs as a
Hmm.
business owner. You can do it in a variety of different ways. It doesn't have to be, I'm just saying make sure that you have some money.
Right. What we're suggesting is not the only way you can do this.
Yeah.
We are just offering you some brainstorming ideas to get you going in terms of how flexible you want to be, but also how proactive you need to be to protect yourself financially, because it's not the biggest expense you're going to ever run into in running your business as an author, but also it does add up
It really
very quickly.
does. And it happens frequently, which is why we're sort of talking about that,
Right.
like harping on
Well,
this for a
and
while.
something a lot of readers don't appreciate is that there is a financial investment on the author's part in even participating in these signing events.
Right. They're not
The vast
free.
majority of authors are paying to be there. They are not being paid to be there.
Correct. It costs an
And so,
author, I've seen readers like, oh, I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on the sign. So have the authors.
exactly,
They're at least
exactly.
$2,000 commitment when you start talking about the paperback books that you're
Hmm.
purchasing. If you add in special editions or something like
Hmm.
that, the cost skyrockets.
For sure.
A table fee, travel expenses, all of that.
For authors who've never attended an event before, there are a whole bunch of startup costs involved in setting up electronic payment taking methods
Yep.
and getting all of the decorations for the table that they're going to need. I mean, you know,
Well, it's
it's standard now to have a 6 foot standing banner at
I
your
was just
author
going to
table at
say,
these
let's talk
events.
about things that are pretty standard. That you
Yeah.
will need a banner, a standing banner, they're retractable banner. You can search for that on Vistaprint. Julie at Swag Advantage, you can reach out to her, giving her a shout out.
Yep.
We love her. We work with her a lot. This is not a
Yes.
paid promotion.
No,
But Julie, if you
no.
want to do that. No, but for
We've
real.
just been happy to refer Julie a bunch of print business over the years.
Yes.
So
Well,
she'll
she
take
takes
care of you.
care of people. She will
Yeah.
make sure that you have what you need and that it's correct. Appreciate that. So, but you can also get them at, Vistaprint or wherever.
Any major online
Yeah,
printer, if you have a local printer that you want to do business
correct.
with. I was just
Staples
last
or,
week
yeah,
helping an author with graphics to be printed at her local printing company.
correct.
So,
Yeah, something local. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Just contact your favorite printing company and you can find out what they need. Make sure that you find out the graphic size and all of that.
Right.
Take that and a template, take that to your favorite graphic designer, and they can make up the graphic needed for that. You submit it all, and then you get this, 6 foot banner ish in the mail. And they're great because they advertise your brand right behind you, so you don't have to constantly say who you are. People get a vibe from them. What are you about? Make sure that it's reflective of your brand. What was that,
Put put
Biden?
put your logo on it.
Oh, yeah, put your logo.
Just call me Biden.
I did. He's the Whisper King.
I don't want to be Biden. I want to be Dark Brandon, just
Okay,
for the
okay,
internet's sake. Okay,
okay.
but yeah,
Noted for
okay.
the future.
Continue, continue.
But yeah, put your logo on it. Absolutely. What else? So some people do that, and then they also have a runner for their table.
Yes, the table
The
runner.
table runner. So you can get one that I wouldn't get one that puts the branding on top of the table. You want one that
No,
goes over the
that
front.
hangs in front.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because you're
I just did
putting
one last week that's double sided. So we had two different images that the author liked. She couldn't decide. So we did it so that the runner actually has a design that hangs on either side.
perfect.
And she can
She can
flip
flip it
it,
around.
whichever one she wants to display, depending on the event she's at.
Love that. Yeah.
Yep.
And that makes it super versatile and it makes it look
Yes,
like it's a 2-in-1. Love
exactly.
that. Other things, you want something to be able to display your books on the table. So
Yes.
and I mean that like you want something that has levels. because if you
A
just
tiered book
a
rack.
tiered book rack, yes, or multiple tiered book racks, depending upon how
Yes.
many books you have.
Yeah. If you get a huge back catalog, get 2 or 3 of those bad boys.
Yes. Get a tiered book rack or little something that can display your
Yeah.
books. Get creative in some type of tiered leveling, because just putting them flat on the table does nothing for one. You're going to run out of space very quickly, and
Hmm.
two, it doesn't draw the eye to your table at all, like at all.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, well, you want to have signs as to how you accept payment. Are you accepting payment cash only? Do you have a card reader? You should get a card reader, by the way. That will increase your
Totally.
sales.
Square, Stripe. What? How many other? Like, there are just so many
Oh,
ways that you can
QuickBooks
take mobile
has
payments.
one, Square
Yeah,
has one, PayPal has one, Stripe has one.
I caught that.
Yeah, I mean, not my favorite. I'm allowed to have opinions. Yeah, but so you can use your favorite. And
Whether it's Heather's favorite or not.
exactly, whatever your favorite is. But to that end, really look at the fees associated with accepting cards
Yes,
and look at
and
those.
charge accordingly.
Yes. And make sure that you're charging accordingly. Yes. What Veronica just said, because you need to make,
Pass that fee on to the reader. Tack it onto the price of the book. $10, $15 plus the, I don't know, $2 a swipe or whatever it is you end up having to pay.
yeah, because those add up very
Mm.
quickly.
And also, a lot of readers attend these events with cash.
Yes.
And if you can offer them the cash discount by not passing along the debit card or credit card fee to them, the vast majority of them will pay for your books in cash.
And so, to that end, make sure that you have change.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
need
you're going to want to bring
change.
some small bills to
Hmm.
break 20s and maybe even 50s at these events.
Exactly. Put together some bundle packages.
Yes.
So,
3 for 30, 3
mhm,
for 25, 3 for 45, whatever your books are valued
get the
at,
whole series for XYZ.
Yeah.
Right.
Or get a freebie if you buy the whole series,
Right.
right? Like if you have some bonus content that's sitting out there, an epilogue or a series themed novella that you've never published before, put a cover on it. Or
Yeah.
get a print copy of it if you have published it, but only an ebook or something like that.
Yep.
And offer it as a bonus for people who buy the whole series.
You can even throw it up on BookFunnel, print out a
Mm-hmm.
QR code, and that's the
Make it a
freebie
free
they get.
download with purchase.
Exactly. You can do all sorts of fun things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Make it enticing. When you go to think of a craft fair or something
Yeah.
like that, right? Like a lot of people have been to farmers markets and craft
Mm-hmm.
fairs. It's that similar vibe. And so you want to have that when you're setting up your table. Think about that from a consumer perspective. What draws
Yeah.
you to tables at those places,
Yes.
and plan accordingly.
We can also take this to the next level and talk about ways to make your table stand out or more of a draw to the readers who are in attendance. I have seen everything
Oh
from
God.
life-size cardboard cutouts of sci-fi romance alien heroes, like for, taking photos or whatever, which is a great concept and really hot, to authors offering shots of whiskey at their tables.
Yeah, I have too. I've seen the ones even where they have like the hero on that's the cover of their book, right? In a large cardboard cutout, and they have a heroine as a cardboard cutout next to him with the face like cut out. And so
Yeah, so
you can
you could
then,
stand next to
yeah,
him and be the heroine,
yes.
stick your face through.
Um,
Fun. I must have missed that one. That's a great use of the cardboard cutout for sure.
yes. Or, you can obviously take picture with the guy when there's no heroine.
Right.
Yeah, some authors have brought their models to book
Yes.
events that are
Yes.
on the cover of like their most recent release, whatever that is. And you
There's
can
some
get,
very in the romance community, especially some very popular cover models who do sort
yes,
of the book event circuit. So it's not unusual for you to see them.
correct.
For authors to sponsor them and pay for the cost of their attendance so that you can take pictures with them and meet them at their table.
Yes, not uncommon at all. What else? There's been some crazy stuff. People have played games, set up a whole
Mhm.
game little
The
section.
carnival games,
Yeah, like a
yeah.
carnival game at their table. You can take
Or
this
a
as
gift
next
basket
level.
raffle.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You can a gift basket raffle, very common, which is I love those. Absolutely love those. I've seen scavenger hunt sort of, things where the event has it, giving you sort of like a bingo card or something,
Mhm.
with facts or something about all of the authors in the signing. And
Yep.
you have to go around and, figure out what they are, or just get like a box signed or whatever the case may be. And it encourages readers to go to every table. So I do
Yes,
like those a
yes.
lot. Those are fun games. But yeah, authors have run their own like little carnival style games at their table.
Mhm.
And by doing so, what are you doing? You are getting people to stay. You are giving people an experience. You are making yourself memorable. These are all great marketing tactics that will get people coming back to you.
Right, right. Well, and the more a reader appreciates your style of doing anything, whether it's just interacting with them and talking to them about what they like to read, even if they've never read your books before, or giving them a really fun experience for 10 minutes while they're visiting your table, they're much more likely to go, I resonated with that. I'm going to pick up this author's book and give them a
Right.
shot. They were fun. I really enjoyed talking to them. I had a blast playing whatever at their table.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a chance on this book. And you may end up with some pretty loyal new readers that way.
And with the games, you can have fun prizes like a free book or
Yeah.
10% off or, all sorts of things like
Mhm.
that. So get creative with it. It's really fun
Yeah.
to do those sorts of things. What else was I going to? Oh, we have not talked about swag.
Oh my gosh. Like the,
So
yeah,
here's,
just in very briefly in passing, giving a shout out to Julie.
yeah, you do not
Yeah, this
need to
is,
offer free stuff. Okay. Just throwing that out there. You do not need to offer free stuff, but
you
swag,
probably should.
you probably should. Yeah.
Is it necessary? No. Is it basically an industry custom now for most experienced authors who have attended signings?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So swag can be anything from I've seen, oh God, it can be anything. I'll just put it can be anything.
Bookmarks, pens, chapstick, buttons, tote bags.
Little squishy penises.
Yes, the stress balls,
Yeah.
right? Like lanyards, keychains, bottle openers, wine goblets,
If you can put your
coffee
branding
tumblers.
on it, it can be given away. I
We
mean,
have a client who makes charcuterie boards.
yeah.
Literally swag can be anything.
Yes. It's up to you and your budget.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
exactly.
Some people make their own swag, then they get very creative and crafty and make their own stuff.
Hmm.
Some people order stuff, but the idea is to give the reader something. In my opinion, the best swag is useful swag
Yeah,
because you don't want them to take it home and throw it away. You want them to take it home and use it, and every time they look at it, they think of you.
yeah.
That's the
I,
point.
I I once collected somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 different chapsticks at a weekend long conference. They were all crap, and I threw them all away.
Oh, yeah, you need to make sure they're good.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
if they're not good, if it's not good swag,
The pen doesn't write well. Nobody's going to keep it in their collection and look at your branding every time they grab it to, you know,
like
sign anything or write anything out.
I'm in the process right now of making keychains for swag for an event for August that we
Hmm.
have the opportunity to put some swag in some author bags at a signing. And so I'm making some keychains that say bookish, and on the back they have our logo.
Love it.
And yeah, they're wooden keychains. They're very cute. Now, see, I have the capability of making these myself, but you could also order them, or you could contact me and I can make them for you.
Hmm.
So just saying, throwing it out there.
Right.
But you find someone who makes them, make something yourself, but like make something that's useful, something that people will remember you, look at and be like, oh, that's cute.
Tervis tumblers.
Yeah,
Those are expensive. I mean, I'm not
they are.
saying that everyone needs to have the kind of budget to order drinking glasses as swag, but like, I would use the heck out of one of those.
Right. I would too. I mean, you can find some people have done, I mean, t-shirts usually you have at the table to sell, but
Yes.
if you could
That's
get
more of
it,
a merch thing rather than
yeah,
a freebie. We're talking about low entry stuff,
right,
things that are going to be cheap for you to order in mass quantities.
correct. And well, but then we should talk about merch. So
Yes.
you can have the free stuff, which is like a sticker, even like a
Yeah.
sticker can
Like
be free.
have a bookmark for stopping by my table. You know,
And then have,
scan this QR code, sign up for my newsletter, and take a pen and a button with you. You know, like,
yeah, stickers are very popular right now too. So,
yeah.
but yes, then you should also, you can have merch at your
Mhm.
table.
Yes,
So
non-book things that you are selling.
yes. And those things, I mean, the t-shirts can be as simple as having your logo on it
Mhm.
and then can go on up to having a quote from one of your books.
Yep,
Wouldn't it be nice if the person, who's has the license for those words and like, I don't know, owns them, made their own merch for the
yeah,
words and actually got profit off of it? Because 99% of the people that you're seeing on Etsy that are making a lot of this bookish merchandise do not have the license to use if it's specific to a book or something like that.
right, right. If it's something you recognize from from an author's
Yeah.
work, the Etsy retailer or the creative maker on whatever platform you're using to buy this stuff is usually not that author
Yeah.
or licensed by
Or
that author.
licensed by that author. So I implore you as a reader to make sure that you're looking for that. Make sure that they are licensed, reach out to
Mhm.
them and ask them if they are licensed, because really, really rubs me wrong when I see that sort of stuff and see people making an entire business model that is based on somebody else's work that they're not getting any profit from. So there's that. But yeah, authors, they're your words. Put them on a t-shirt, put them on a mug, put them, have something fun. If you
Mhm.
made up a whole university, make a whole university, merch line. And you don't have to have, if your budget is not huge, right? You don't have to have a whole inventory at these events. You could take a pre-order, right? If somebody wants to purchase them right there, you take the order and then you can go in and process that after the event. So it depends.
Totally.
You can do it in a variety of different ways.
Yeah.
But okay, I think that's. Did we hit on all the high points? There's so much more.
I think so. We could do a whole separate episode just for readers and like the reader experience
I mean, we can.
and
I think we should. I think we should do a whole
totally,
separate episode.
totally. I agree.
But for authors, I think the biggest thing to go to these events, if it's a big event, go with the expectation of networking, of
Yes.
meeting other authors, and
Yes.
hopefully finding some new readers and meeting
Yeah.
some readers that you have, who love you.
Building a support network in the community, because if this is something that you haven't tried before or something you've only done a couple of times, the more you do it, the bigger your network is going to get. And that can only help you
It
to know more people
does.
and to have more contacts in the community, more people to bounce ideas off of,
More
or
opportunities
to
come your way when other
exactly,
authors know who you are, because what
exactly,
if they're presented with an opportunity and the person who's doing the thing says, "Hey, we're looking for, this many authors." They're going to go to the people that they know. If they've never met you and they don't know that you would be open to this type of opportunity, it's not going to come to you.
exactly,
So
exactly.
meet other authors. Most authors are lovely human beings. They're there for the same reasons that you are,
Yeah,
you know? And so just go with an open mind and an open heart, network, and just meet people and have a good time.
that last part is the most important. It's usually a lot of fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Yes.
And you're exhausted by the end of it, but usually have had a wonderful time. And
Well, and not only that, but the more you go, the more likely you are to be invited to additional events or
correct.
to have space made for you at other events. So it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You kind of perpetuate it,
Yeah.
go out, show up, have a good time, and then see how many other doors open for you in doing this again
Yeah.
at another event,
And you
doing
can't,
it on a larger scale at some of these really big anchor events that
right.
happen, once or twice a year.
Well, and that's I think something important to note. If you've never done an author event before, you should not be feeling like, you've been slighted if you fill out the interest form for one of these massive events and don't get invited. There are
Right.
authors years in the industry who've been trying to get into these events.
Mhm.
There's only so many slots. Like,
Listen, there are a lot of authors out there and only so many spaces, even in the biggest convention centers. So
so start
it's a supply
smaller.
and demand issue. And
Right.
yeah, exactly. There are plenty of more intimate regional events where you can usually get in sometimes without any issue at all,
Right.
or for a very short waiting list. Maybe you apply this year for next year rather than
Exactly.
applying now and hoping to be there 5 years from now.
So, yeah, start with the smaller events. And then once you're in there, start doing multiple of them. You, the event organizers talk to each other. I mean, they see who's out at these
Yes.
events. And then also readers who go to these events will be like, oh, I want to see XYZ author. If there's enough demand for you to go to an event, the event organizers listen.
Yes, they do.
They do.
They do.
So, there's multiple ways to get into the event by reader demand, by hanging around long enough. But for real, I mean, you can get invited to these events by just going to the events a lot.
Mhm.
And I know that there's some event organizers are inviting different kinds of like not authors, but they're now inviting influencers to come to the
Mhm.
events in
Yes.
addition to authors and having special programs from that. So
Mhm.
we can touch on that in the next the reader side of things.
Totally. And as you were mentioning that, something else that occurred to me that we should mention is that oftentimes event organizers are always looking for sponsors. Okay.
Yes.
Like this is a financial undertaking for everybody who participates. It's expensive for readers to attend, to participate, to buy books, to support authors. It's expensive for the authors to show up and pay table fees and prepare for having a complete stock of merchandise and books to sell, their travel and accommodations. And then the organizers also have a lot of expenses in
Yeah.
renting the facility or the space and paying for the overhead of all of the different things that are going to take place as a part of the event. So if you have a budget that would allow you to be a sponsor for an event, that will sometimes also open doors for you to also purchase a table as an author.
Correct. Yeah, for sure. And sponsoring events and not going like I'm doing with that one
Mm-hmm.
event in August is also a great opportunity. You can get your
Yes.
stuff into swag bags for the
Mm-hmm.
readers. If for whatever reason you can't attend the event or you simply can't afford to go with the whole full
Yep.
thing, that's a great option also. Contact the event
Yes.
organizer and say, is there something I can sponsor? Do you have
Mm-hmm.
sponsorship levels? They're usually more than willing, to work something out
Absolutely.
there
Yeah.
because these events are insanely expensive to put on. If you've ever planned any event ever, um, these cost it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
like it's like a 3-day wedding for these mega events. That's essentially what
Yes.
you're planning.
Yes.
And things go wrong all the time. We didn't talk about that, but things go wrong a lot.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, with any foray into the public, you just have to expect the unexpected.
Correct.
Anything is possible.
Anything's
If you're
possible.
leaving the safety of your writing cave to go out and mingle with other authors, meet new readers, you're gonna, you're gonna have flight delays, traffic problems, rental car unavailability, hotel check-in issues. Although most of the time, especially with events that are hosted, like where you're staying on site, wherever the event is taking place at the same hotel, usually not an issue, but it does happen.
It does happen.
It can. People behaving badly, event event sponsors or event organizers and coordinators who are in bad moods.
Yeah.
I mean, volunteers who don't know everything that they should as part of their volunteer assignment for running the event.
Yeah.
Readers behaving badly. That's a thing we can talk about in the reader episode.
Yeah, I mean, authors behaving badly, authors
Yeah,
leaving
that happens
before,
too.
yeah, authors leaving
That
before the
happens
event,
too.
easy
Cover
and
models
over.
being inappropriate. That one's always my favorite.
Which one?
Never sees cover models behaving
Oh,
inappropriately.
yeah. Yeah, that happens. That
A
happens.
lot.
So things can happen. Understand that no event is perfect.
Yep.
You're going to walk away with a different experience than the person next to you. It's just
Yes.
that's how life is. I mean, you're going to walk away with a different experience.
Totally.
As an author, I'm thinking about from the author perspective because we'll talk about from the reader perspective, but that's also true for the reader perspective.
Mhm.
So, yeah, just try to find your people and enjoy yourself and do things that
Yes.
you want to do
Mhm.
and keep yourself open for opportunities.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, these events are massive undertakings. I
Yeah.
mean, the big ones, even the smaller ones, they're a big deal. I mean, that is a lot of
Totally.
work. It's a lot of
Totally.
work.
Yeah.
So, anyway, those are my thoughts. I don't know. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so.
I think we're
I
pretty,
really this felt comprehensive to me. If there's anything we missed, it's a minor detail and something that will be fun for an author to find out on their own and go, oh, wait a minute.
yeah.
Veronica didn't talk about that.
Or,
Well,
or if we did miss it, let us know and
yeah,
we're
send us
happy
an
to
email.
address it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
Veronica,
So
what is our evergreen marketing tip of the week?
I was just about to say I owe you guys an evergreen marketing tip after our last episode. I was thinking about this before we started and you and I talked about it a little bit. This idea that you need to diversify. And we had talked about it being just a diversity in streams of income, but really it's a diversity in your approach to marketing yourself. So that is being available on multiple channels and in multiple ways. That is
Hmm.
selling books, but also using affiliate links for affiliate marketing on your website and in your social media posts. And anywhere else terms of service will allow you to use those affiliate
Yeah,
links because there are some places you're not. Selling merch in addition to books and really breaking up all of the different ways that you can monetize your intellectual property.
correct.
So that diversification is super important and it will always be super important. No matter how you're selling your books to the public, you need to have a diverse way of reaching that public and also a diverse offering of things that the public can buy from you.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Totally agree. Diversifying always possible.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
all righty. Well, I think that is today's episode of For Book's Sake.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, lead us out.
We're gonna sunset this episode just like Heather's beautiful hair.
Yes. Love
I
it.
can't get over it. It's stunning.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Take us out.